Hello everyone, I'm Candace with Eclectic Coaching with Candace.com, and in this video I want to talk about um, what I'm offering in terms of customized guided imagery and mental rehearsal training. It's also known as visualization or guided meditation, and also it's very similar to hypnosis, where you're led into a very relaxed state and then you make suggestions to your subconscious mind. I do a little bit of that as well. But there are so many different applications for this amazing tool. It's safe, it's easy, it's effective, it's cost effective, and it can make such a tremendous difference in creating something in your reality. And it also has many other forms and uses as well. For example, you can use guided imagery to improve upon a particular skill. I'm looking out across a golf course, and the famous golfer, I think it's Jack Nicklaus or whatever, he would close his eyes and imagine himself taking the swing, making contact with the ball, and placing it exactly where he wanted it to go on the green every single time before he took a shot. And the added advantage also of using guided imagery or mental rehearsal training is that you can actually practice doing something perfectly where you can't do that in actual practice. So you're able to kind of transcend some of these barriers, and and you're also able to use it for so many different types of things. So not only can you improve upon a skill, you can also use it for pain management by imagining how the pain is representing itself in your imagination and manipulating those images, and then you can change how that information is being encoded in your brain and experience some tremendous relief from this. I remember hearing an example of a woman who was having severe chest pain, and the doctor asked her what it felt like, and she said it was heavy. And he said, yes, but what does it look like in your imagination? And she said, it feels like an elephant is sitting on my chest. So he had her imagine this elephant shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And then one day in her meditation, it just sprouted wings and flew away. And then from that point forward, she no longer had this chest pain. You know, we have these imprints or these associations to things, these constructs in our mind that we're not even aware of and that are running on a subconscious level, and that really need to be reprogrammed because we consciously create them around us all the time. And when we see things in our environment that don't match our internal blueprint, one of three things will happen. Our internal belief systems, because we haven't been facilitating what we believe at a conscious level, one of three things will happen. We will encounter an opportunity or an experience, and mostly we won't even see it. So if we don't believe that we're worthy of success and we don't have images in our mind of success, then an opportunity will present itself and we won't even see it because it doesn't match our internal blueprint. And or we will immediately dismiss it as being ridiculous or untrue in some way, or we'll be completely mystified by it. But by visualizing these realities that we want to create, we are priming what's called the reticular activating system, which is just a fancy name for the part of the brain that's responsible for attention and sensing shifts and variations in our external environment. And we're processing billions and billions and billions of information, bits of information per second, like the light that's shining on my face, or the hair that's on my face, or maybe I can feel my feet. But what we're aware of is completely contingent upon what state we're in, because if we're in a negative state, our view of all the options that are around us constricts significantly, because we've evolved to get away from the lion, you know. We not just look around. We got to constrict our view of awareness and get out of there. But when we're happy and relaxed, we're aware of all these other options that are around us. And when we prime our reticular activating system, we naturally gravitate and realize what we have been imagining in our physical environment. And so what guided imagery will help you do is experience it as if it's happening to you now. And when you're able to pair these positive images with these positive emotions, you're creating a new neural pathway in your brain, making it much easier to activate and access these particular happy psychological states, and to associate the things that you want with these happy, enjoyable, positive feelings. And by doing that, when you pair this, the neurons that fire together wire together these positive emotions with these positive images of what you want to create for yourself, and not just images on a visual level, but auditorily and kinesthetically, and what it feels like in your body. You are creating intrinsic motivation, which is much more powerful than extrinsic motivation, which is this motivation that comes from within to move forward and to gravitate towards what you have been desiring and envisioning. And you can create new healthy pathways to healthy habits by using this tool. Another thing that you can do kind of in a creative way with guided imagery is you can go on journeys, creative journeys. You can do creative thought exercises. Einstein came up with this theory of relativity by imagining and doing this thought exercise. And so that's another interesting way that you can use guided imagery or guided meditation. Another way is extracting information from the ethers or getting ideas. When we have these two states of attention, the focused, where we're able to focus on very narrow things, and then the diffuse state, when we're in a relaxed state, and then we're able to access nodes of information that are further apart. And so you can use guided imagery and guided relaxation to access information in the ethers, and also to get information from your guides, or to connect with Jesus or a spiritual figure that you feel a divinity and a connection with. And I do guided imagery, and this is really helpful because I'm able to get really, really clear on what it is that you specifically are trying to create and what that would look like for you, so that the image is very crystallized and very personalized for you and for what you want. And if you practice visualizing and imagining and sensing and simulating this experience, you are going to be able to bring it into fruition with greater ease, greater accuracy. It's just going to really empower you and help you see how powerful really your mind and your nervous system are. And I'm just excited for you because this is such an amazing tool. Another thing that you can do is you can release painful memories by changing the way that they are encoded in the brain, and the visual stimuli or the sensory stimuli that you associate with it, like the memories or intrusive thoughts. And we can talk about how to, like a record player, if you scratch that record, it won't play the same again. And if you scratch and scramble up how some of these images and impressions are encoded in your brain, it won't play the same way that it has before. And that's a good way to release and diffuse negative energy. And you can also use this just for pure manifestation. I had a mentor, and she told me this amazing, inspiring story, and I'm just praying that my camera won't turn off now. But she had her client and friend visualize and she was kind of a mentor to this woman, and she had her visualize what is it that you really want. And she had her visualize her art and being successful in art. And so she did that, and she imagined what it would be like creating it and selling her pieces and making a good income from doing that. And so every day she would visualize it. Not much happened, and then one day she called them crying and said, my storage unit's being closed down. And she said, okay, don't freak out. When these things happen, they're not breakdowns, and they're not indications that you're on the wrong path. These are breakthroughs. So just relax and just trust that it's all coming together. Sometimes old systems have to break apart and in order for you to progress. And so she said, okay, what do I do? And I said, well, why don't you just bring all your art here? And that weekend, my mentor had another client in town, and she saw all this art and she loved it. So she bought a whole bunch of different pieces. And then my mentor had also been envisioning somebody counting out $100 bills in her kitchen. And she memorized what $100 bill would look like, and she just looked at every piece of it and would envision and imagine somebody counting it out. Well, she hadn't even mentioned it or brought it up, and this woman was so grateful that she had encouraged her and helped her, that she's like, I want to give you this money. And she counted out $100 bills in her kitchen. And what was so amazing about that too was she never gets paid in cash, she said, and there she was counting it out. And that's just one of the many ways, that there's so many ways that the universe can deliver, or source energy, or God, or whatever you want to call it, can deliver what you have been envisioning. This is our birthright and our power as human beings to imagine and create. And it's so, so, so exciting. And, human beings have a unique and interesting ability to interact with larger consciousness differently than artificial intelligence. For example, they did the double slit experiment, and where it goes from a wave to a particle again. And I guess the artificial intelligence, when it observes it, it collapses the wave function. But humans have this amazing ability to do something interesting, and they're not 100% sure, and they can't quite measure it yet, but interact and interplay with this larger this larger consciousness. So I'm really excited to help you manifest amazing shifts in your world. You can have anything you're willing to really put your time, energy, and attention on. And so what I'd like you to do is, if you are interested in receiving a custom guided imagery, is you're going to fill out the form in the Getting Started section, and then what we'll do is I will take all that information, we'll schedule a call, and on that call, be prepared to have about 25 minutes where you're not going to be disturbed, where you can really relax. And I'm going to do kind of a spontaneous guided imagery session over that call. And this way you can kind of get a feel for what it's like, and we can immediately get to work on it. And then after we come out of the meditation, you can give me ideas on some adjustments or any refinements that you would like to make. And then I will go back and re-record and put it on a MP3 file that you can access, so that you can listen to it over and over. This is where you really make those strong impressions on your brain, is when you repeat the visualization. And I think it's so wonderful to have a recording, because you can use it in place of worry. So if you spend a lot of your time worrying about something that's much more effective is get a guided imagery recording that's customized for you and what you're trying to do, and listen to it over and over, and give your mind something to do, because it's a part of the mind to just think, and but we want to make sure that we're thinking constructively, and that we are able to move into this space of expectation of what we've been envisioning to come to us, and for us to be able to realize it. And so that's what I want to help you do. I want to help you make your dreams come true with guided imagery and coaching and intuitive readings. Stay tuned and fill out the Getting to Know You section. That's so, so, so important. I also do different types of coaching. So check out my other videos and set up an appointment, and we can get started seeing your dreams happen. All right.